Hey folks, how you doing? Good to be with you. This is a different type of vinyl video. When I go online, when I go on Facebook, I notice people do this game where they show pictures of albums that were released the year they were born. And that's always a fun thing to do, like on Facebook. And I've done it a few times. And I always thought that would make a cool video. So today I finally remembered to make this video. And so I collected albums that were released at the time I was born. The year I was born, the year I was born. And I looked all these albums up on Google. That's the only thing I use for research. And according to Google, these albums came out during the year 1970. If I'm wrong on some of them, let me know. Because there's a couple I thought, didn't they come out in 71 or 72? But Google said 70, so I threw it in the pile. So hopefully this is a quick video. And here we are. Albums that came out the year I was born. I was born in 1970. And we're going to start with the album that shocked me the most. I couldn't believe this album was released the year I was born. It's the Beatles, Let It Be. Really, folks, I'm that fucking old. Now, granted, it's their last studio album. A good album, too. I mean, I like Abbey Road better, but this is still a good album. And I just can't believe, a Beatles album was brand new the year I was born. Just to show you how old my fucking ass is. So yeah, the Beatles, Let It Be. Hard to believe that came out the year I was born. Holy crap. Alright. Fuck, I'm old. Alright, I'm a big Who fan, so I was hoping there would be a Who album that was released in 1970, and one of my favorites it's the live record, Who, Live at Leeds. My God, I love this album. Such a classic live album. Me being a big Who fan, and Keith Moon being one of my favorite drummers, one of my drummer heroes. His live drumming is on this record, of course. As you can see, it's a pretty beat up copy. It looks all dirty. There's some ring wear in the back. It looked like it's been around. This thing looked like it's been around, right? But it has something really cool in the gatefold I really like. In the gatefold, when the gatefold looks like a manila folder, it has all these notes and receipts and company letterheads included in the gatefold. So I thought that was cool. Like, here's something with the EMI Records gatefold, like a letter written to either to the band or whoever, and there's the letterhead. And I just thought it was a cool thing to include in the album. Here we have a delivery note for a fireworks company. So I thought that was kind of cool, and something from their agency, King's Agency. That's what it says on the letterhead. So it came with all these notes and receipts and whatever. I think this is like a contract from Premier Talent Associates, as you can see in the letterhead, and it goes over all the stipulations and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Pretty cool thing to put in the album, I thought. I thought that was a cool touch, so that's why I like this copy so much. And I'll show the label on this one because it's one of my favorite live records. I'm a big fan of live records. I'm a big fan of The Who, and the two come together so well on this album. Because The Who sounds badass on this recording. Keith Moon sounds badass on it. Of course, later in years, more extended versions of Live at Leeds came out, especially on CD. But I'm happy with my little vinyl copy here. I like this. I do have this on CD as well, and it has extra tracks on it this album does not have, but sounds good on vinyl. It's not final till it's on vinyl, as a friend of mine used to say. Really cool stuff. So Who, Live at Leeds, kick-ass live record, and came out the year I was born, 1970. Another shocker. This one shocked me too. The Doors, Morrison Hotel, came out in 1970. Yep, I was alive the year a brand new Doors record came out. Unbelievable. Cool album. This is a cool album to listen to. I am a Doors fan. I wouldn't say I don't have all their albums. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on the Doors, but what albums I do have, I do love. I have quite a few on vinyl. Not a complete collection, but just the ones I was really interested in. The song Roadhouse Blues is on here. Great song. Real fun record too, so real fun to listen to. Maybe when I'm done filming, I'll throw this on the turntable right after the Who. Oh, this one made me proud. This one came out in 1970. Led Zeppelin 3. Oh, how I love this album. Not an original pressing, but a kind of used pressing from the 70s. The wheel on it is still working. So, really nice copy. It's too much to take it out of the shrink. But one of my favorite Zeppelin albums, because it's more of an mostly acoustic album. There's a lot of acoustic songs on here that I really like. I really like the sound and the vibe of this record. So when I did my research, I found out that was out in 1970. That really did me proud. Black Sabbath, self-titled, also another 1970 release. This is a monster album. Unfortunately, this is a reissue. I wish it was something used from way, way, way back in the day, but those albums to find and use are kind of pricey. I don't think I need to take it out. I love the cover. Such a wicked looking cover. Spooky, wicked cover. I love it. I love it. And just a monster of an album. This thing is killer. I love this album. I love to crank this one up. I remember when I went to a record shop in LA, I think it was the Record Parlor, and I was doing some digging pretty late at night, between 10 and 11 o'clock. They had this cranked on the turntable, a PA system. It just echoed like crazy in the store. They really had this record turned up loud. And I was just digging, listening to it like, man, this record's kicking. I gotta buy this record, it kicks ass. Never found like a cool used copy, but this reissue was a bargain, so I went and bought it. Sounds great. I love it. I gotta listen to it more, like a lot of these records. This is a cool one, Van Morrison, Moondance. I forgot about this album being a 1970 release. I love it. I love the title track, Moondance. It's just a gorgeous song. I wanted to show this, however. It's a gatefold. I have never read this story. I think when I'm done, I turn the camera off, I'm going to just read what this is all about. I've never read this, and I've owned this album, I think, a year now, because I found it used in a shop, and it was in good shape. I mean, it's on the Warner label. It was in pretty good shape, and it looked like it was a pretty old copy. I doubt it's original, but it looks like it's been around for a while, and really good copy. Oh, it always sounds good on the turntable. When I put the song Moondance on, oh man, it sounded so good. You always notice the classic rock songs you hear 1,000 times on the radio and don't think much about, but for some reason you buy the record and you play the song you heard 1,000,000 times on the radio, you spin it, it just sounds better. I don't know what it is. Moondance is definitely one of those songs. I hear it a lot on classic rock radio and oldie stations, but when I spin this copy on my turntable, oh man, it's a big difference, and it sounds great. And I love that song, Moondance. Great song. Rolling Stones, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. It's another live record. A pretty cool live record, too. I'm not the biggest Stones fan, but their earlier albums and songs, like Jumpin' Jack Flash and Honky Tonk Woman, Street Fighting Man, those were great songs. Give Me Shelter. Those were really great songs, and so I think I like, their older songs and older records. Once we got to the late 70s and early 80s, there's a few songs I liked, but more or less the early years of the Rolling Stones I really liked. This is a good live record. This is another thing that deserves more of a listen than I usually give it, because I'm, like I said, not a big Stones fan, but this is a good live album. When I first bought that record, I really loved it. Okay, this is the one I'm not sure I'm correct on. I look it up online, it says it's 1970. I could have sworn this was like a 72, 73 release, but Elton John, Tumbleweed Connection. My favorite song on here is a song called Love Song. I think that's a beautiful song. Love it. When I first heard the song, I saw Heart in concert in Reno, and they did acoustic cover version of Love Song. And they did it so well. I wanted to track down the record and just hear how Elton John did it. And his version is just as beautiful, if not more beautiful. Beautiful song. It inspired me to buy this record. And I do love the music on this album, but Love Song is still my favorite because Heart sounded so magnificent when they played it. Very good album, very good album. Okay, here's a band I like, but an album I can't say I'm the biggest fan of. It's Pink Floyd, Atom Heart Mother. It came out in '70, and it's just a little too strange for my taste. I think I've spun this record once in its entirety and never played it again. I love Pink Floyd. I absolutely love Pink Floyd, but for some reason I just can't get into this record. And I've tried, well, I only tried once, and it just didn't do much for me. Maybe I got to give it another chance, so I just haven't really been in the mood to give it another chance. It's on the Harvest label. Very nice. I love Pink Floyd, but I don't know what it is about this album. I just can't get into it. I'll try again. Like I said, I only spun it one time, and it's sat on the shelf ever since. So, but it came out in '70. I love Pink Floyd, so I want to at least get one of their records in there. The last one. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. My favorite band is Genesis. I'm an absolute diehard Genesis fan, and thank God they had a record that came out in 1970, and it was Trespass. When I was younger, this was not one of my favorite Genesis albums, but as I got older, I really appreciate this album now. Obviously, The Knife is everyone's favorite because it's such a high energy song, but Stagnation is beautiful. So is Looking for Someone. Always love that song. I'm starting to come around to the song White Mountain. I never used to like it before, but starting to like it now. This is a Japanese copy. Even though it doesn't have the Obi strip, it's a Japanese copy, and it's on the Charisma label. Genesis on vinyl, they all got to have the Charisma label. At least the '70s records do, because I associate that label with Genesis. So it's not a Genesis record from the '70s if it doesn't have that label on it. That's just the way I feel about it. And beautiful record. I'm glad one of my favorite bands of all time had an album that was released in 1970, and I was able to show it proudly in this video because I do love this album. Now that I've gotten over and I could appreciate it for what it is. Beautiful album. Great compositions on it. This is before Phil Collins and Steve Hackett even came into the picture. But God, such a good album. Genesis, Trespass. Mwah! Alright, that's it. That's just some of the albums that came out during the year 1970. This was a fun video to kind of put together and dig these albums out. Later tonight I'm going to listen to them and have a good old time here in the music room. Alright, hope everyone's doing well. For kicks in the comments, maybe list some of the albums that came out the year you were born. It'd be interesting to see what music was happening during the time we all entered the world. So, hope you guys are doing well. See you all in the next video. Later on.